I want to add some of the other views that I referred to as key views. For example, the camera, so CA. If I go to the first floor, I thought I had, interesting. I thought I had put a shortcut on that. I think I showed you how to do the shortcut, so let me just place it from here. So I want to have an outside view. So actually most of my interest is in this part of the building, so let me put an exterior view where I'm looking this direction, going well beyond the objects. Rename it so it's going to be under 3D. Rename that as exterior. Back to my floor plan. I want to create an interior of this room here, so I'm going to say camera, say standing here at the entrance looking that way towards my model. He does this later on. It just seems a shame to wait till the end of the project. Let's call that interior. And then one that I find really useful is if you make a copy of the 3D view, so duplicate, so that you get the duplicate was just the model objects, duplicate with detail was any annotation in the view. And then what I want to do is rename it as working 3D. And in that view what I'm doing is turning on the property that says section box, so that what I can do is as I work I can pick on the section box and drag the controls so that I can see inside to my building. A little hard to see, but there's options there. So if I do that I can have like a cutaway to look at my project. That helps me see what's going on. So if I go to the camera view, I'm just going to, in the following exercises, we're going to create some additional options here. Now he says that in the view, like the interior, you sometimes need to join walls before you'll see this edge line. If you can see the edge line between the wall, it might be because of where this is at the moment, but we'll deal with that as and when it comes up. Right now I can see the bottom and I can see the top of the walls when I have these options. If I go to my sections, which was my section X and my section Y, if I switch on the option here that says medium, and my ceiling is here, but my floor is under here. When we do copy things up, it might be that we need to adjust how these meet. This is going to the outside face. The next floor up will have, when we copy it, will be up here and going to the outside face. And we might need to join geometry to clean it up to make it look better. Right now, I'm not going to do that. Let's do one more in the floor plan. Other kind of view that will help me to understand would be the walkthrough. So if I do a walkthrough, I'm going to just draw something that approximates to a circle going around here. I'll give it just say middle of here, middle of here, middle of there, middle of the north side, and then just close to the end of this and escape to get out. So my path for that camera is actually, the camera is at the end. If I say edit and I say previous, you'll see that I can go back through to the beginning. I want to, the camera has a target point, so what I can do is I can turn it so I place it so it's looking towards the middle of the building. And then up here I can say go to the next frame and turn it so it's going to look towards the center of the building, and it interpolates between those what are called keyframes. So next frame, if I don't do that, then the camera is traveling along the path looking in the direction of the path. Next frame, turn it in, and I've got one at the end as well, so just looking towards the middle. Next keyframe, and turn that back in here. And I might try and clean this up a little bit. So let me say I'm escaping out and done with this. If I say edit and I say go back to the beginning, that's it, moving to the beginning. And if I said it's going to look not very good at the moment, if I go to the view that was created under walkthrough and click in here, and I were to select the box on the outside, sorry, the crop region, and then say edit the walkthrough and play, what I'm doing is traveling around looking towards that part of my building. Not very convincing in terms of the speed or the position of the camera. So something, you might remember it, but if I go back to the first floor here, if I, let's say I couldn't see that, if I'm looking at a floor plan view of any sort, a floor plan or ceiling plan view, if I right click on a walkthrough and say show the camera, it'll show me the whole path. If I right click on a 3D view like my interior and say show me the camera, and then I can adjust things by redirecting my target or whatever I want to do in the view. So back to modifications to the walkthrough, if I say right click and show the camera and then edit the walkthrough, what I can say here is under these options, add additional keyframes would be additional red dots, additional control points that will let me smooth out my path. And then also if I click up here, I can extend the time of this. So let me just do here, let me do first of all, let's make that 900 frames instead of 300. That's going to slow it down a bit. Okay, and then I'm going to go down here and say add keyframe, and I'll pick some additional points on the path. This is going to let me smooth it out a bit. So, and if I go to the option that says path, that's where I can actually change the position of the points that are defining the path. So I'm going to move them a bit further away from my building and create something that's a bit more of a circular path. Be nice if it just let me draw a circle, but it doesn't. So just approximate. I just want to be looking back towards the building but far enough away from it that I can see the context. And then maybe on this last thing to try and kind of make sure it says path, I'm going to try and just put that on the same position as the first one. I'm just eyeballing it, but that's approximately it. Okay, so if I went to the actual view, if I now said edit and play, it's slower, and I'm kind of circling my building looking at the objects that I've got. And again, I'm doing that to help you as I work, not nothing to do with construction documents. The only way to stop it is to say escape, and you want to interrupt the operation, yes. So there is no camera object and there is no way of seeing it unless you say show in view, except for this one kind of trick that I've got. I'm going to say close hidden views, so any other views are gone, and then I'm going to open up one of my camera views, like interior. So if I do a window tile where I can see them side by side like this, so I'm going to Do it like that. Notice that when I click on the outline of the camera view, it shows up in my other view. So you could tile them so that you can gonna make that active and adjust the target point so you can see how I can be modifying this and seeing the end result in my view. There is no lens. You can't say 35mm or 50mm, but if I drag that out to make it a bit bigger, you see that what I'm really doing is changing this here. So I could extend that out. If you extend it out where the center is moving away, it might look kind of distorted, and you can always say reset to that's going to reset just to center the target in between those two ends of your camera. So it's now equidistant, this side and this side. Okay, so if I just close that, go back to my floor plan, that was some of the additional views. So section, camera, cutaway, 3D view here, and walkthrough where I can go look at this anytime I want by selecting and editing and playing.